Hey friends, it's been a while since there's been a post like this that I've made time in my life and schedule to create, but it's happy to say I'm officially on summer break from being a school educator. I know there's a lot of districts that are still in school, so hang in there, and hopefully what we do here today in terms of some mindfulness meditation can help with this time of closing out the school year, whether you're a teacher, educator, just wherever you are in your life. Change of seasons is happening here. We have summer solstice coming up on the 21st, and most importantly, anytime there's change, it's going to bring this place of being vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, and I love this quote by Brene Brown, it's, staying vulnerable is a risk we have to take if you want to experience connection. And it hits really true in my heart, where I know what it's like to hold things back out of fear. And I still do it. I catch myself doing it a lot, in relationships, in saying what I really think needs to be said at a certain time in my job, or dealing with family members, or even with friends. And so being able to have this placeholder of expression through vulnerability is super important, because vulnerability feels messy. It can make us feel very, just unglued, like we're really seen, but yet at the same time, being able to hold that space creates this unlimited amount of freedom. And why I'm sharing vulnerability as a kind of a umbrella is because that's what mindfulness meditation is all about. It's about this opportunity to take off some of the layers that we present every day to the masses and get a little bit more in tune with what's happening inside of ourselves. But how do we get inside of our hearts when we live inside of our heads? And when we're not vulnerable and we're not authentic, this is where we live from. We live from this place, and we get caught in this cycle of reaction, and that's due to the fight, flight, freeze, and where it makes sense. When we're reacting, we're never living from our center. It's the body physiology. We feel threatened. We need to protect. We want to have change. We have to, fight it. We can flee it, fight, flight, or freeze. We're stuck in it. So the body physiology, blood leaves the internal organs, digestion shuts down, shoots out the extremities to the brain. And this is where we operate. It makes sense. We have to act fast. Think about how we've been developed. But then there is something that can happen when we choose to be aware of that's the place that we're in, and we learn how to settle. And that's the hard part. It's the hardest part. And that's what I want to offer you today is an acronym, and it's called CALM. And it's derived from mindfulness meditation that helps us truly be in our bodies. And what I like about this CALM process is because it's transportable, meaning it can go anywhere. You can do this in the car, the airplane, at the office, when you're standing in line at the grocery store, at Starbucks, in the middle of a heavy conversation, you take it with you. One, it's transportable. Two, it's transferable. It can apply to any situation that you're in your life. Whether you're struggling with sleep, if you're dealing with a child having a temper tantrum, or if you're a teacher in the middle of a classroom setting, there is so many different ways you can transfer this skill of calm to check in with yourself. And then lastly, with calm, it's immediate. There's going to be an immediate effect to how this feels. So with that being said, just checking in with where you feel at this moment, like the most vulnerable in your life, like that place where it's a little bit too risky to get real, or that realness may have already hit. and it can be in your job. I know I'm living in that place right now, that place of uncertainty. I have a lot of colleagues who don't know if they're coming back next year based on staffing. And there's those administrators that have to make those tough decisions. Then there's those of us who might be in relationships. They might be relationships that have been going for a long time. They may have lost their luster, or they might be reinventing themselves. Either way, it's a place of vulnerability when you can check in with how you really feel and then choose to express that to, your partner, whatever relationship you might be in. There's that place of unknown, of vulnerability that evokes something as simple as waiting for a test result from, if you just took an exam academically, or even more so if you just checked in with your doctor. You're waiting for those results. It may be something as simple as, you had to take your car to a shop and you know that it's going to be a huge chunk of change out of the account. That's vulnerable too. And all the point being is that when we don't allow ourselves to hold that container of vulnerability, of that unknown, that unsettledness, right? We disconnect. We disconnect from maybe that true sense of intuition of what it is that we feel, therefore what we will say, therefore how we will act, therefore how we will emit our energy and attract in what it is that we truly need. So, if you're ready to learn the skill of calm, the focus is being in a position where you can be at ease, rest, and yet awake. I'm sitting here, and it's best and suggested scientific evidence-based research goes to show when you have a disciplined practice that you can show up to over time, daily, whenever that's going to be for you. Best, yes, to create a routine, but when you can get it in, just get it in. It doesn't matter. You got to do you with this. So being in a place you can feel your body truly settle in. And I'll offer up some guidance of what calm is all about. So just trusting this layer of not knowing what it stands for as we process through. So if you'd like to take part in getting into a deeper connection, feel free to go ahead and close your eyes wherever you are. And that in itself might be a little vulnerable risk. And if so, just noticing the true felt sense of connection when the eyelids close. Let that be an immediacy of just feeling something connect here. And then directing your attention here down and towards where you can feel the base of your body just coming into contact with the ground. Whatever it is that you may be seated upon or standing on. Inviting your attention just to settle there, and with attention meaning simply noticing what's coming into contact, what part of the feet, what part of the legs. Is there a sense of balance or unevenness? Maybe a pressure. But taking your time to investigate what's here. And just shifting your attention now more in towards your seat if you are seated. And letting your body be a little bit more heavy, slightly more settled. And for some of us, that may not be true for you, and no problem if settling is not accessible. No need to rush it or force it. Just give yourself some time. Take your time. And And from that spaciousness of the seat and region of the pelvis, aligning your attention through the vertebrae of the spine, just allowing the vertebrae to stay stacked, and noticing how the head rests between the shoulders. And inviting your awareness to land now in your face. Perhaps noticing any obvious areas of holding or might feel tight, specifically around the eyes, the mouth, the jaw. And inviting a placeholder of release, if that's okay, or choosing to keep things exactly as they are. And then letting the shoulders drip further down the back. Perhaps even softening the muscles of the face with a soft and faint smile. Just be reminded of this ability to take a risk to getting to know yourself on another layer. And beginning this acronym of CALM, where the C represents the chest. So checking in with any movements of the chest, and notice if you can experience breathing. Keeping your attention focused on the region of the chest specifically. And where here can you feel breath the most? Is in the upper chest, around the collarbones, or maybe even further up in the throat. Is there an expansion as the breath comes into the body? And if so, where? And just staying curious, not judging what's happening, and observing what happens now to the chest as you exhale. Perhaps a softening of the ribs, even floating deeper in towards the belly. But leaning into this automatic ability of the body to be breathed. And allowing your attention just to be coupled on the feeling of the breath in, moving into the chest and the belly, and then out of the chest. Really taking your attention here now from the chest deeper in towards the region of the belly, as if the entire front of the body is now part of the chest, breathing. Feeling the rise and feeling the fall. Experiencing breath. Noticing here when the mind is checked out and started to wander. Again, no problem. Again, there's that softening of knowing there's not a right way. Just becoming aware of where the mind went. What thoughts interrupted the attention of focusing on the breath? What came into play? Making a note of what stole the attention and just saying, hey, I see you, I see those thoughts. And then making a conscious decision to come back to this feeling of what's moving inside the chest with the breath. Just kindly coming back to this felt sense of your body. Just transferring your attention back to the chest. And if it's okay, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, exploring the A of calm, which is becoming aware of your arms. Just knowing that you have arms that are attached to the body. And for some, it may be arms that fully function, or perhaps not. But noticing how the arms are attached to the shoulders, the longer bones of the upper arms. If there's a bend in the elbows, or if the arms may be straight. Observing the hands and what the hands are making contact with. Perhaps each other, or parts of the legs. Noticing if the hands feel warm as they make contact. Or perhaps if there's another sensation that's apparent on the skin of the hands. Just kindly noticing what's here right now in the arms. And if this place is okay to stay and investigate with a sense of curiosity, staying here in the arms. Otherwise, moving your attention to the legs, specifically to that contact point where you either feel the hands placed on the legs, or maybe even where you feel the legs coming into contact the most with the surface that's beneath you. Noticing if the legs feel heavy or light. Perhaps any tingles or pulses that may be shooting through, maybe the right side, or perhaps the left. And perhaps there's a sense of absence and nothing at all, and that's okay. No need to search. Just becoming aware of the legs, the skin, any clothing that's touching the legs. And if there's any sense of struggle here with experiencing here, just knowing that the legs exist, perhaps evoking like, what can you be grateful for about having these legs? Like all the movement and abilities these legs provide for you, or perhaps for others. Allowing that to swell, that awareness swell into the heart. Either choosing to stay here with the legs, which is the L of calm, or bringing your attention down to M, which is mouth. And simply observing here if the lips are sealed, or if they're slightly apart, and what feels better. Just making note from that felt experience of where there's a release point. Inviting the tongue to release from the back of the throat. And then simply observing if the tongue is coming into contact with any parts of the mouth or the palate. The front or the back of the teeth. Again, checking in if there's any judgments about the mouth or any future planning that's going on in the mind, or any questions, thoughts. Using that as your wake up, a chance to just check in with what's here. Just say, hey, I see you, no problem. And just kindly inviting your attention here back to this anchor of focus, which is in the mouth. Maybe it's even feeling the breath. And simply observing how the body is here now in this place of stillness. And checking into yourself here from head to toe. As a whole unit, this whole body. This whole body from the inside out, simply breathing. And allowing yourself to keep this attention focused on any of these parts of calm, the chest, the arms, the legs, or the mouth, at any time to serve as anchors. Be an anchor as a placeholder for your attention to come home to. A place you don't have to judge, but helps you just connect with another vulnerable layer of not knowing what's going to happen next. And almost being intrigued just to observe and not have to have it all figured out. And so collectively, as we breathe, just take a breath here together to maintain the sense of connection through the phones or the sounds of my voice. No matter how many miles apart we may be. Allowing for that exhale to be shared and knowing that we all share this same breath. You can choose here to either bring your palms together in front of your heart, or perhaps even placing the one hand on your heart with a true sense of felt touch and connection, where you can feel your own heartbeat. Because without being vulnerable, friends, we'll never know. We'll never know what this heart beats for. We'll never really know love. We'll never really know experience. And we'll miss out on some of the greatest connections of our lives. And the bonus is that we have the time to do it. We just have to give ourselves that permission. So honoring you in this practice, keep coming back to calm at any place, at any time. Chest, arms, legs, mouth, in order to really connect greater to your own heart. I don't have the bell to ring, but this will be us to serve in our closing, perhaps palms together and bow in to just honor yourself here. And with that being said, I hope that wherever you are, whenever you decide to watch this mindfulness meditation derivative of calm, it's just another part of our being able to be human. And there's more of these to come. I wish I had a set schedule to have us have something to look forward to, and it will, it's in effect. But right now I'm enjoying the rest of my official summer vacation this week before the other work of creating more opportunities for everyone to just kind of learn these skills. So it's in the works, and I appreciate your patience, and comments, suggestions are always so helpful. I'm in this with you every step of the way, and stay vulnerable, take that risk. I know it's worth it, and I think you do too. So have a great one, my friends. See you soon.